There is a particular kind of silence that exists just before the world wakes up. It is not an empty silence. It is full and deep, like the breath of something ancient resting between heartbeats. In the early hours of morning, when the sky is still holding the last traces of night in its corners, the natural world does not wait for permission to begin. It simply starts quietly without announcement, as it always has. Somewhere in the distance, a single bird calls out. The sound is clear and high, cutting through the cool air like a thread being pulled through a needle. Then another answers from a different branch, a different tree, and suddenly the morning has a conversation that needs no translation. You do not need to understand the language to feel what is being said. Something in you already knows. The forest at dawn is a different place than the forest at noon. The light that filters through the canopy is tentative, almost shy, moving in long pale columns that shift with the slowest breeze. Every leaf catches a different angle of it. Some glow a vivid green from within, as though lit by their own small fire. Others hold the light more gently, letting it pass through in soft amber tones that remind you of honey and old photographs in warm rooms far away. Walk slowly through this place and notice how the ground beneath your feet is soft with years of fallen things. Leaves that were green and then gold and then gone have layered themselves here into something that cushions every step and smells of dark earth and rain. This is how forests remember. Not in words or monuments, but in the slow accumulation of what has passed through and let go. The stream you hear before you see it, that is how it always is with water in a forest. The sound arrives first, a low, continuous murmur that your brain begins to register before your conscious mind catches up. When you step between two mossy boulders and find it there, bright and cold and moving without any apparent effort, there is a sense of recognition, as though you were always going to arrive here at exactly this moment. Watch how the water moves over the stones. It does not fight them. It finds the path of least resistance, not out of weakness, but out of perfect understanding of its own nature. It knows what it is. It knows where it is going. And in that knowing, there is no tension, no urgency, only the quiet confidence of something that has been flowing for longer than memory and will continue flowing long after. Sit beside it for a while. Let the sound of it replace the sound of whatever you were carrying before you came here. The water does not ask you to do anything. It does not require your attention or your admiration. It simply runs, and in running, it offers you something that is very difficult to find elsewhere, which is the experience of being in the presence of something completely indifferent to your troubles in the best possible way. The sun is rising now, and the forest is changing with it. Colors that were muted and blue in the early light are warming into greens and browns and the gold-tinged ochres of old bark. Spiders have been working through the night, and their webs are everywhere now, visible only because they have caught the dew, each thread a necklace of tiny pearls that will be gone by mid-morning when the warmth evaporates them. For now they are extraordinary, these constructions made in the dark by creatures who have never doubted that the light would return. A deer moves through the trees at the edge of your vision. She does not run. She is not afraid, or perhaps she is and simply does not let it govern her. She places each foot with a deliberation that seems almost formal, lifting her head at intervals to listen, her large ears rotating independently like satellites adjusting their aim. Then she is gone, vanished into the green as completely as if she had never been there at all. But you saw her, and that matters. These are the gifts the forest offers to those who come quietly and wait. The morning mist is lifting now from the lower ground, pulling away from the surface of the water and the hollows between the roots. It moves without any visible effort, becoming part of the air so gradually that you cannot say exactly when it ends. There is something to learn from that, from the way mist does not cling. It rises and disperses and does not leave a trace of where it was. Higher up, where the canopy thins and the sky becomes visible in wider patches, you can see that the blue has deepened. The paleness of early morning is giving way to the full, frank blue of mid-morning, the kind that makes you feel the planet is enormous and that being small on it is not a problem but a relief. You are not responsible for the sky. You do not have to hold it up. It holds itself as it always has, as it will long after you have turned back toward home. The birds are in full voice now. The tentative single caller of before has become a chorus so layered and complex that you cannot follow any one thread through it. A woodpecker hammers somewhere above you in a rapid staccato rhythm that sounds purposeful and prehistoric all at once. Smaller birds dart between branches, their movements so quick that the eye catches only the suggestion of them. A flutter, a flash of wing, a brief disturbance in the leaves. There is no schedule here. The forest does not run on the same time as the rest of the world. It runs on something older, something calibrated to seasons and migrations, and the slow turning of years rather than the small, urgent units of hours and minutes. To step into it is to step out of one measurement of time and into another. An hour can feel like a morning can feel like a lifetime. Both are accurate in their own way. Find a place to rest where the ground is flat and dry, where you can lean your back against the solid presence of an old tree and look upward through the layers of leaves to where the light moves and the birds are. Close your eyes if you want to. The sounds will still be there, maybe more vivid for the absence of sight, the wind in the upper branches, the water, the birds, the settling sound of bark and wood contracting and expanding with the warmth. The occasional fall of a cone or a nut through the canopy. Breathe in the air. It smells of pine resin and wet earth and something green and alive that has no single name. It is the smell of photosynthesis, of millions of leaves converting light into life. You are breathing what the forest exhales. The forest is breathing what you exhale. This exchange has been happening between animals and plants for hundreds of millions of years. You are part of something that old. That continuity is not nothing. It is, in fact, everything. When you are ready to leave, and you will know when that is, walk out the way you came in. Notice how the trees look different from this direction, how the same light falls differently on the same surfaces when you approach from another angle. This is true of most things. What seemed familiar is slightly new. What seemed strange has become known. The path you made coming in is easier going out, your feet already familiar with its particular hesitations and turns. You carry something back with you that is difficult to name but easy to feel. A kind of quietness that sits behind your thoughts rather than in front of them. A sense of having been somewhere real, somewhere unhurried, somewhere that did not need anything from you and gave you something anyway. The forest does not keep score. It does not remember that you came, but you do, and that is enough. The world you return to is the same world it was when you left. The same demands, the same noise, the same complicated beauty of being alive among other living things who are also trying to figure it out. But you are not entirely the same. You have breathed forest air and listened to birds and watched water move over stones without going anywhere in particular. You have practiced the art of being present without purpose. And that practice, repeated often enough, becomes something permanent. Come back when you can. The forest will be here. The water will still be moving. The birds will still be calling out across the cool morning air. And somewhere in the stillness, that ancient silence will be